Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the 4 different regions of San Luis Obispo County in California. And I might be a little biased, but I think this area is absolutely amazing. We have a little bit of everything all in this little area. We have 4 distinct regions that are very different and offer a different type of life and vibe. We're kind of going to go through every region and talk about the different towns in that region and then what it means to live in those regions. Like, what's going on? What's the weather like? What's the community like? So we'll start with South County. So South San Luis Obispo County includes towns like Nipomo, California. You've got the 5 cities area, which includes Arroyo Grande, Grover Beach, Oceano, Pismo Beach, and Avila Beach. So southern San Luis Obispo County is on the beach. Pismo Beach is a huge tourist destination. It has the Oceano Dunes. You could go off-roading in the dunes. You could take horses out to the dunes. It's pretty world-renowned. A lot of people come here to experience that because there's not many places in the United States that you can do that. So South County includes Pismo Beach. There's also the town. So we'll start at the southernmost point is Nipomo, California. Nipomo, California has been named the best weather in the entire United States. And the reasoning for that is it is almost a perfect 75 degrees year round. There's not any fog like you get on some of the 5 cities area. You get a lot of fog. Nipomo doesn't get as much. It's absolutely beautiful all the time. You can enjoy outdoor living year round. It's pretty phenomenal. And it's a very, very small town feel. You could still get properties on pretty big pieces of land. Most of the real estate was built here. Like they had a really big boom in like the 90s or so, 80s and 90s. So a lot of those houses were built back then on acre parcels. So there's some really good housing options there. And there's also like some smaller condos and stuff too for first-time home buyers. And then you go into the 5 cities area. So like I said, Arroyo Grande, AG, Grover, Pismo Beach, Oceano. Arroyo Grande, really small town feel, great for families. Some of the housing here includes like larger ranches and larger properties on the outskirts of Arroyo Grande, going towards like Lopez Lake. There's Wasna, all of those areas. There's large farms and a lot of ranches out there. So I like to think of the whole like South County region as where the farmland meets the beach. You have rural living, but then you have the ocean and you have the vibe of a little surf town. It's a really cool combination. But Arroyo Grande has a very historic downtown village. That's kind of the hub of the whole town. And it has some really cute housing around there, like old Victorians, really, really cute houses. And you can walk to the village of Arroyo Grande from all of those houses around. It's really cool. Then you've got Grover Beach, California. Grover is really being developed quite a bit right now. It is right near the ocean. You have one of the on-ramps to the Oceano Dunes in Grover Beach, and they are building a ton of new condos all along Grand Avenue, right in the hub. They're kind of making Grover Beach have like a downtown area, which Grover Beach never really had before. So there's a lot of condos being built. They're improving a lot of the infrastructure, and it's becoming, it's very well known compared to years past. Some of the other housing options you have in Grover Beach is you have like a lot of these little beach bungalows that are all over the place. Some of them have started to be replaced with bigger houses, and a lot of people are taking these bungalows down and they're building 2-story houses so that a lot of houses in Grover Beach have ocean views. They have rooftop decks and you can see the ocean from almost anywhere in Grover Beach. Oceano is very much a farm town. That's where a lot of strawberries are grown. We have the big strawberry festival in Arroyo Grande, California, because this area grows most of the strawberries for the rest of the country. So there are strawberry fields everywhere. And Oceano is also home to the Oceano Dunes, the Pismo Coast Dunes. So this is where the on-ramp is. This is a really thriving community, especially on the weekends. People come from all over the place to go out to the dunes. Then you have Pismo Beach. Pismo Beach is a huge tourist destination. It's a beautiful beach. Their downtown area has a lot going on. There's a lot of restaurants, there's a lot of activities, there's a bowling alley, a pool house, there's bars and restaurants, there's a little bit of everything. And the housing around there, it used to be a lot of little beach bungalows, but now a lot of these beach bungalows are being replaced with townhomes and bigger homes because, again, people want ocean views, so they're building taller. So that's the downtown area of Pismo Beach. But then you have the area, the bluffs in Pismo Beach, and that's all along the backside of Pismo Beach. And almost every single one of these houses has beautiful panoramic ocean views from every single window in their house. It's pretty amazing. Then you got the neighborhood or town of Shell Beach. Shell Beach is a very tight-knit community. Very cool, very laid back. There's a couple restaurants there. There's a couple bars. There's a really cute coffee shop and a lot of locally owned shops in the area. And it's kind of like grid neighborhood with the beach bungalows and also some new construction. So there's a little bit of everything in Shell Beach, but almost everywhere in Shell Beach, you can walk to the beach. There's beautiful beaches and like the other side of cliffs in Shell Beach. So everyone that lives there, I mean, you can walk like a couple blocks and go watch the sunset over the ocean every single night. Then you have Avila Beach. Avila Beach is a really amazing town. It's kind of like in this little microclimate. It's kind of different than the rest of the 5 cities because it's in its own little area. And when it's foggy in Pismo Beach and Grover Beach and Oceano and the weather might not be incredibly favorable, you go right around the corner into Avila Beach and it's sunny and beautiful and 15 degrees warmer. So Avila Beach has a golf course out there. They have some really cool concerts out there occasionally. There's restaurants, there's Mr. Rick's, there's the bar, and then there's Port San Luis. So this is a major fisherman's hub. They've also put in some really awesome campgrounds up on the bluffs in the Avila that overlook the ocean. There's the Bob Jones Trail, so you can go on bikes all down the trail. And so out at Port San Luis, it's also a great place to go kayaking, paddleboarding. The beach, it has small waves because it's in a bay. So it's a great place for families and for kids who want to go swimming in the ocean. It's not as warm as Nipomo. It's a little cooler and you get the marine layer. You get the fog that comes in the evenings and then will stay overnight and then burns off towards the afternoon. So this is only for a couple months out of the year. Right now it is in August. So we're getting into our Indian summer, which is the nicest time of the year. So late August, September, October, November even is our warmest months of the year. And we call this the local summer because all the tourists are gone. The kids have gone back to school, all the tourists are gone, and we have beautiful weather to enjoy. Then we'll move on to the city of San Luis Obispo. So the city of San Luis Obispo has a lot of history there. There's the mission of San Luis Obispo right downtown, and the whole town was kind of built around it. But this is definitely the hub of the county. This is where Cal Poly San Luis Obispo is located. So there's a very interesting demographic in San Luis Obispo because you have so many students. I believe it's around 19,000 now. So 19,000 people of the population are students and they aren't there year round. During the summers, they're gone for winter break, they're gone for spring break. And at that time, it's only the locals. So sometimes the town is really, really busy and other times it's not. So San Luis Obispo has a really awesome historical downtown area. You'll find a lot of really older buildings in this area, and a lot of the housing around the downtown area has a lot of historical charm. The community has worked really hard to keep that charm. So there's all these old Victorian houses that have been redone, and they're just stunning. So out on the outskirts of San Luis Obispo, there's a lot of new development going in. There's a lot of new houses. There's a lot of new construction. There's the Edna Valley, which is a huge wine region of San Luis Obispo. But out there, you can still get large ranches and really large parcels of land. San Luis Obispo definitely has a small town feel to it. Every Thursday night, there's a huge farmers market, and it features a lot of local restaurants. All the farmers come in and sell their produce. There's a lot of little shops down there, and it's really an opportunity where the whole county and the whole community comes together to support small business. Okay, so northern San Luis Obispo County. So northern San Luis Obispo County is right over the cuesta grade from San Luis Obispo. So Atascadero is the southernmost, well, Santa Margarita, and then Atascadero would be towns closest to San Luis Obispo. They're only about 15 minutes away, but it's over this large grade. So what makes a huge difference between South County and San Luis Obispo versus North County is North County gets much hotter and it gets a little bit colder during the winter. So when it's 70 degrees at the beach, it can be 100 degrees over the grade. So northern San Luis Obispo County, that's going to include Santa Margarita. You've got Atascadero, Templeton, Creston, Paso Robles, San Miguel, Shandon, little communities outside of Paso. We'll start with Atascadero. Atascadero is a really good place for families. There's a lot of kind of some newer houses that have been built up there. And then there's some older houses that are on, quarter-acre lots under these beautiful oak trees. So Atascadero has a lot of new development. Their downtown area has really a lot of new shops and restaurants have gone in there, and it's becoming more of a downtown area than it ever really was. The housing in Atascadero is a little cheaper than some of the county, which makes it a really, really great place for first-time home buyers, for families, young families. The housing here, you just get more house and more land for your money versus South County or anywhere on the coast. Templeton is a small town in North County, and it still has that really small town feel. Their downtown area is a little western town. Then they have a lot of new construction and newer houses. And then there's a lot of ranches and larger houses on parcels outside of the town of Templeton. Santa Margarita is right over the grade as you're going over the grade into Atascadero. This is where Santa Margarita Lake is, and there's a lot of recreation. There's a lot of camping out in that area. A very small, cute town. They have some little shops and restaurants there, and housing out there is definitely, there's a little bit of housing in town, but then outside of Santa Margarita, there's a lot of houses on a lot larger lots. In fact, you could get like very large parcels of land out there. A lot of ranches, farms, wineries are starting to go into there also. Okay, so Paso Robles. Paso Robles can quite easily be called like the hub of northern San Luis Obispo County. Paso Robles used to be really, really small 30 years ago, but since then, many, many wineries have moved into the area. So this area of San Luis Obispo County is now like wine country. It is next to Napa as being one of the largest wine regions in California, and they make some excellent wine, let me tell you. Because of this, their downtown area has become a really amazing tourist destination. They have a lot of little shops. They have some really great restaurants, bars, even a little bit of nightlife. Like there's a lot going on in downtown Paso Robles. And this is a place that people from all over the county, we like to go up there during the summer in the evenings because it's so much warmer up there. And in the evenings, it's still warm. And there's some really great restaurants and a lot to enjoy in downtown Paso Robles. So the housing in Paso Robles, again, North County is going to be a little cheaper than South County or the city of San Luis Obispo. So if you like the heat and don't mind a little bit of frost during the winter, Paso Robles can be a really, really great option. There's a lot of housing there that has been made into Airbnbs or second homes. A lot of people from the Bay Area come down here to enjoy wine country, so they have started to buy second homes. So this area is really, really having a boom. And I really, truly believe that Paso Robles is a really great place to invest in real estate because it's only growing more and more. Okay, so the fourth region of San Luis Obispo County, we're going to call the North Scenic Coast. And so this is going to include towns of Los Osos, Morro Bay, you've got Cayucas, Cambria, and the little town of Harmony. So this is a great retirement community. It's very quiet. Except for Morro Bay. Morro Bay gets quite a bit of tourism. They have the Embarcadero right in downtown Morro Bay that has a lot of shops and restaurants. There's boat tours. Right there on the harbor, you can go paddleboarding or you could go kayaking right next to the massive Morro Rock, which you can see Morro Rock from so far away. It is definitely the epicenter of this entire area. So the housing in this area, there are some little condos here and there. A lot of people have vacation or second homes in this area. There's some single family homes. And then Los Osos, California is pretty close to Morro Bay. And this is a really funky town. Montano de Oro's out there. It's really beautiful, a lot of single family homes, and it tends to be a little cheaper than, say, Morro Bay. So this is also, Los Osos can be a really great spot for first-time home buyers or for young families. So the coastline all along the northern scenic coast is absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. It looks like a postcard everywhere you turn, and the sunsets are immaculate over the Pacific Ocean in this region. There's the town of Cambria, which is the northernmost point of San Luis Obispo County. And this town is where the pine trees meet the ocean. So it's a beautiful coastline. And then you have all these pine trees and a forest. And then when you go north of Cambria, that's where you get into Big Sur. So this area of San Luis Obispo County is very much like the scenic coast. This is where you go to really just enjoy the scenery. If you have any questions that I didn't answer about San Luis Obispo County, about the different towns and areas, I am always a resource. I am a walking neighborhood guide. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. And if you need any real estate services, I am always a resource. Phone number is 805-440-4084.